So I have a goal to read all the Harvard classics in about a year. I'm working on volume one. I just finished volume one, and I just finished Some Fruits of Solitude by William Penn, which is the last book in volume one. There's actually two of them. There's part one and part two. And what this book is that it's like a collection of proverbs. So, for example, the want of due consideration is the cause of all unhappiness man brings upon himself, for his second thoughts rarely agree with his first, which pass not without considerable retrenchment, or correction. And yet that sensible warning is too frequently not precaution enough for his future conduct. So it's a bunch of parables or wise sayings, and some of them are good and most of them are just kind of like meh. So I'll read a few of the ones that I liked. This one in number 43, for we love rambling better than home, and blaming the unhappy rather than covering and relieving them. I like that contrast there with that one. I liked 46. They have a right to censure, they have a heart to help. The rest is cruelty and not justice. I also liked 47. Lend not above thy ability, beyond thy ability, nor refuse to lend out of thy ability, especially when it will help others more than it can help thee. That was 47. Jumping to 64. If thou rise with an appetite, thou art sure never to sit down without one. That's a good one for people who are dieting. If you're hungry when you get up, you should be hungry when you get down. I like that one. 71. I have written down here as neither urge another to do that thou wouldst be unwilling to do thyself, nor do thyself what looks to thee unseemly and intemperate in another. So don't be a hypocrite. I like that one. 79. Never marry but for love, but see that thou lovest what is lovely. So I like that you should marry for love, but you should love goodness and things that are good. 96, we have the satisfaction of our sentences is low, short, and transient, but the mind gives a more raised and extended pleasure, and is capable of a happiness founded upon reason, not bounded or limited by the circumstances that bodies are confined to. So I like that one. Jumping ahead, we have 133 that I liked. In all debates, let truth be thy aim, not victory or an unjust interest, and endeavor to gain rather than to expose thy antagonists. I really like that. I feel like more people should obey that maxim. 162 I liked. This says, knowledge is the treasure, but judgment the treasure of the wise man. So you should have good judgment in dispersing knowledge. I like that phrase. I liked 186, rarely promise, but if lawful, constantly perform. Thought that was good. 203 was, do thine own work honestly and cheerfully, and when that is done, help thy fellow, so that another time he may help thee. I like that phrase. That was a good one I liked. If we would amend the world, we should mend ourselves, and teach our children to be not what we are, but what they should be. I like that one. That we can change. That's how you would change the world, is by changing yourself and changing your children. The next one I wanted to read was into 71. Not to be provoked is best, but if moved, never correct until thy fume is spent. For every stroke of our fury strikes is sure to hit ourselves at last. So don't act out of anger. I like that one. 329. Government has many shapes, but it is sovereignty, though not freedom in all of them. So government is sovereignty in all of them. We should recognize that. I thought the 337 was also interesting. Let the people think they govern, and they will be governed. So kind of let people think that, if you let people think that they are in charge, that they have choice, then they're more easily controlled than if they realize that they don't have choice. I like 393. Our law says, well, to delay justice is injustice. So delaying of justice is injustice. Then I also liked this one. 440 over here. I just thought it was interesting. 446 has that phrase, the pot calling the kettle black. And I wonder if that phrase, I think it originally comes from Shakespeare, but I wanted to check if it came from this one or not. I also liked 448. If thou wouldst conquer thy weakness, thou must never gratify it. No man is compelled to be evil. His consent only makes it his. So you have to, if you're trying to become a better person, I like that this focuses on agency, that you need to consent to doing bad things. And if you want to conquer something, you don't gratify it. I like those ones. And then 503. I like this one. For death is no more than a turning of us over from time to eternity. Religiousness, just that religiousness. So that's part one. Part two, I didn't like quite as much. And so I wasn't necessarily a big fan of the fruits of solitude here. There were a couple of them that I liked okay in part two. So I liked 115 that said, be not fond thereof of praise, but seek virtue that leads to it. So don't seek praise. I like that one. Rather seek virtue. And 284, I like. A man, and yet not to have feeling of the wants or needs of his own flesh and blood, a monster rather, and may he never be suffered to propagate such unnatural stock in the world. So he's saying that humanity, you need to feel for other people. Otherwise you're more of a monster than a human, than a man. Anyways, those are some of the fruits of solitude that I liked from William Penn. I think that that book, I don't know how much I like that book overall, but I do like some of those sayings. So I think you get about 1 in every 40 sayings is decent. So it's good.